Oh, and Sadie, thank you for your chat there. I can see that. Good self-care, which we really need right now. Yeah. Okay, and so sitting comfortably, we'll have a few minutes for meditation to settle in and just to simmer a bit in the intention we have for practicing yoga right now. You're welcome to close your eyes if that helps you to be more focused or more present. You're also welcome just to have your gaze gently cast downwards, but not focused, like a fuzzy kind of gaze. And invite your body to start arriving here a bit more. So what we call the density of the physical body is called ana. Let this dense form be here more completely. So there's no part of your physical body that's thinking, wait, I should have watered the garden, or oh, I didn't go get the mail. And then you have these muscle reflexes that pull you away from the present. And then invite your breath body to also be here more and more, so you can place some attention on the breath itself. You don't have to make a big yogic breath right now. And notice the incoming and outflowing breath. As I said earlier this week, it's arriving and departing. I was actually remembering my times with Thich Nhat Hanh when I referenced that. The breath is arriving and departing. Every moment we are arriving and departing. In one of his poems titled, "Please Call Me by My True Names," he said, "Do not say that I am departing, for even today I still arrive." He said of himself and of life, "Do not say that I am departing, for even today I am still arriving." And yet we know that he's near the end of his life at this time and has, at least as told to me, he has stopped eating. So his physical form will be departing. But his teachings and his presence on the planet, installed in so many of us, that can remain. And you may notice then that your sadness arrives. As I say, he's in his last days. And yet also arising may be a feeling of appreciation for who he's been. And it's okay for those to mingle, the poignancy and appreciation, gratitude and sorrow. And always the breath as well for us, arriving, departing, but arriving and departing again. So invite your mind and your heart to be here in an expansive way. So really the full spectrum of what might arise in a human being, you are also having access to that. And the full spectrum of what we experience when something departs, you have access to that too. Your breath may help you in this regard, so you can think of the inhale as becoming now a little bit more expansive, three-dimensionally. So the sides of the torso, the back and front of the torso. Don't breathe away sensations or feelings, rather breathe into them. So you're making contact with your inner life. And then notice that in you which is observing how your physical body arrives, observing the breath body, that which is observing your responses to my words, any memories you might have of Thich Nhat Hanh, for example, or other teachers. Notice the part of you that observes the breath getting more expansive. And that aspect of each of us that can observe, this is like a superpower. In yoga, we call that the seer. That which is seeing, the seer. I sometimes call it your benevolent witness. Now you may bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra, and we'll chant together the Gayatri Mantra. May this practice help us to remember that this enormous, immense cosmos, filled with beauty and grace and wisdom, that we are also a part of this, and it deserves our respect and appreciation, and it's our turn to care for it. Let's begin. Om Bhurva Suvaha Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhurva Suvaha Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Bhurva Suvaha Tat Savitor Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayata Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. You may bow your head to your heart and release your hands. Open your eyes if you like. So I'm going to read you the poem that this phrase comes from, and I'll read it now, and I'll also read it again at the end of class. So this is from Thich Nhat Hanh, and I first saw it on the back of a magazine when I was working in a New Age bookstore in Harvard Square, Massachusetts, in like 1989, 1990. It was very pivotal for me to read this at that time. He wrote this. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second I am arriving to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am a mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am a frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks, and I am the arms merchant, selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am also the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands, and I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, and the door of my heart could be left open, the door of compassion. So he is speaking about us also, right? This is ours, our journey he is describing. The poem is called Please Call Me by My True Names. Okay. So we're actually going to start on the floor this morning with 2 blankets. We're starting where our yoga teacher training class left off when they had their break. So I'll go to my other camera, and what you can do is you'll need 2 long folded blankets. I'll back myself up to that spot once I get the camera situated. Oh, look, I have a guest on my blanket. That was the guest on my lap during meditation. So where we're going to be, we're actually going to lie backwards on this, and I would like you to have enough room overhead that you can stretch your arms. So please sit in front of, not on your blanket. Knees bent. When you lie backwards, pick up the top blanket and curl it under your head. And make it like a little inchworm curl so it's going right under your neck. And when you sort of wiggle the head side to side, what you can sense is that the occiput is supported, the base of your skull is fully supported, and the shape of the neck roll feels comforting to your neck. And then just check that your arms do go overhead all the way. Hopefully the blanket is folded in such a way that when your arms go overhead, you're not running into the blanket here. And then bring both palms face down, please. And come back into the breath so you can sense your breath's capacity to help you with connecting to not overriding or suppressing the felt sense, emotions, sensations, your mood. And we're going to do this process like this. You'll inhale, take the right arm overhead and turn your nose to your left. Okay, so this is the in-breath. And then exhale to scissor your arms and to rotate your head to the other side. Inhale, scissor, and rotate your head left. Exhale, scissor, and rotate. When you're turning your head, it's okay if you feel like you're also gazing a little bit down past your shoulder. In other words, if your chin comes towards your shoulder when you're rotating, that is okay. Let it feel like a natural movement. You don't have to think, what is the yoga of these movements? What is the body's natural expression? And we're scissoring and rotating, each of us on the breath cycle that's ours. So an inhale for the full movement, little inhale pause, and then an exhale for the full movement with an exhale pause. What you're doing right now when you synchronize the movements and the breath and the body. You're practicing concentration, you're practicing harmony, synchronizing. This particular action also happens to be a cross crawl, a cross hemisphere pattern for your brain. Let's do it 3 times more, please. I also like this particular practice because it helps us to have the neck and head have a little bit more range of motion. Let's take both arms up towards the ceiling. Turn your palms to face each other, and then take the arms out into a T shape. And invite your shoulders to release down towards the floor, upper arms, elbows, forearms, the backs of your hands and knuckles. And actively press down, but think of pressing down from the back of your shoulders. Not really pressing down from your elbows, but from the backs of the shoulders. And stretch the arms out as you next inhale. Reach your arms wide, left and right, and back up towards the ceiling. Cross the arms at the top of the inhale. And then exhale, open. Go wide and back down. Press your shoulders down towards the floor so your elbows will touch. Inhale, stretch your wings out. Raise your arms up. Cross the arms the other way. Change which elbow's on top. And exhale, reach up, open, and press your shoulders down towards the floor so your elbows touch. Okay, twice more. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Inhale to go up. So your shoulder blades widen apart here. When you exhale to open, you can actually squeeze your shoulder blades in towards the blanket, as if you were going to squeeze the blanket, like give it a hug. And then let your arms and shoulders, your mind and your heart relax completely. And here you are, more ready for yoga class. So roll to your right side, rise up to sitting, and then please come up to table pose. And let's take one blanket for the knees for table pose, and one block for each hand, please. So I'm going to review a couple things from class this week so you guys can remember them, and also because having some familiar things, you get to see how you are changing day to day in response to something. I also want us to be able to cultivate that observer part, that observer aspect, and sometimes having unfamiliar stuff gives you a better chance, but sometimes the familiar gives you a better opportunity for that. Okay, so check that when you go backwards to child's pose now with your blocks and your blanket, you're set up so that your hips come down towards your heels. That's the distance that you'll need here. And then let's inhale to cat pose, please. And exhale backwards to child's pose, keeping your cat pose until you arrive in child's pose. And then inhale, begin your cat pose again, and parachute your torso forward to cat. Exhale, bring your heart forward to cow pose, broaden your collarbones and your shoulders. And then inhale to cat. We're going to hum on the way back to child's pose. Hum. Inhale, cat. Blow out, cow pose. Inhale, cat. Now the word hum, H-U-M. Hum. Inhale, cat. Cow. Cat. Cow pose. Curl your toes under, gaze down, plank pose. Now in plank pose, broaden the back of your waist by lengthening your tailbone towards your heels. Isometrically squeeze your feet towards each other. You'll find that your inner thighs are stronger. Broaden the back of your waist at the floating ribs. You can imagine them rising slightly. And to broaden the back of your heart, keep your arms really steady and strong. Lift the base of your skull so your gaze is down, but also the back of the neck is broad. And imagine that your observer aspect is like a wide support behind you, always available to lean back into. And our observer aspect is non-judging, non-reactive, non-conditioned. With your next in-breath, reach your hips high and come into downward facing dog pose. And then exhale completely in your dog pose and tone the deep part of your lower abdomen. Inhale, return to plank. And exhale to child's pose using the sound of hum, H-U-M. Hum. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward dog pose. Inhale, plank, breathe through the nose. Now the sound of hum, child's pose. Hum. One more time. Inhale to plank, as if you're filling up a windsock shaped like you doing plank pose. Exhale, downward dog pose. Inhale, plank. Child's pose. And then walk your hands back towards your knees, and if possible, for a moment, just pause in kneeling and try to sense, okay, what's happening now? Imagine the aspect of observing, the benevolent witness aspect of you. It's huge. And you can have a felt sense of that being like at the back side of you, something to lean back into for refuge. Now take your blanket and push it a little bit forward towards those blocks, and please step up to put your toes on the blanket in Uttanasana. And for those who are feeling adventuresome, you can take the same blanket and fold it one more time. So that's in thirds. And put your toes up and come into your Uttanasana. Relax the weight of your head. Energize your legs so that there is a sense of grounding. So you can press all 10 toes down into your blanket. That'll cause your arches to lift a little bit or to tone just on top of the blanket. Now bring just enough tone to your calf muscles and your leg muscles. and just enough presence and rhythm to the breath that you feel you can, with observing and with the breath, you can contact your internal experience. You're not pushing it aside. You're not distracting, dissociating, numbing, oppressing, and rather listening and connecting with. Now place your hands on your hips with your toes on your blankets. Inhale your chest and heart forward as you rise up to standing. Expect that to feel a little bit less stable because your toes are up on the blanket and the heels are on the floor. Okay. Now turn your palms face out. Inhale to go up, tippy toe on the blanket. And then exhale to lower your heels down slowly. Notice that you have to use the lower belly to slow that descent. Also lower your arms and come back down to your Uttanasana. Try that again. So inhale, heels grounded, take the arms wide, start rising up, and then start raising your heels. So you go to the high point of your inhale. And then exhale, start lowering the heels as your heels feel stable enough. Bow forward and complete your Uttanasana. Notice where the observer self is going when this is a little bit unfamiliar and a little bit challenging. So inhale, rise up and rise up onto your toes. And exhale, heels down slowly as you then come one more time, last one, to Uttanasana. And then step your feet backwards and rise up to stand, mountain pose. Notice how this feels. Actually, you can close the eyes and just sense, like, how does your body calibrate? Try to be in that benevolent witness. You're seeing you are arriving and departing, emerging, dissolving. Some parts are grounded, some parts might feel ungrounded right now. Okay, we're going to take it to Surya Namaskar, so sun salutation, and I'd like to use Anjaneyasana this morning. So if you'll pull your blanket back so that it's going to be there for your knee when you step backwards, that'll be helpful. Let me change the angle of my camera because I didn't quite set it right. There we go. Okay, so step to the front of your mat for Surya Namaskar. Join your palms together at your heart. Oh, it's crooked. I'm sorry, you guys. I don't want anybody feeling like you're on a boat on an ocean and it's tipping. Whether that's, I don't know, starboard or I can't remember the words. Okay, a bit better. All right, join your palms together. So come to the Ujjayi Breath and expect that some of this is going to feel familiar, some will be unfamiliar. And that observer, that immense presence that knows it is the heart of everything, that is not disturbed by you having familiar or unfamiliar experiences. Like a camera, it's not so offended, what is it taking a photograph of? And here we go. Inhale, Ujjayi, like this. Familiar, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana, chair pose. This is also familiar. Now inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana and toe balance. This is less familiar. And then exhale, heels down slowly and Uttanasana. Inhale, glide forward, raise your heart, open your throat, bring your chin forward. Exhale, take your left toes back and touch your left knee down to the blanket. Inhale, rise, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, descend using your Ujjayi Breath. Inhale, step forward with your left foot, bring your heart forward. And then exhale, bow towards your leg. So that's symmetrical, familiar. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, right toes back and touch your right knee down to the blanket. Inhale, rise up, Anjaneyasana. And exhale, arms wide, lightly touch the two blocks. Then inhale backwards, downward dog pose, firmly press into both blocks. Exhale, plank pose. Inhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now exhale, right foot forward, left foot forward, Uttanasana, all in one exhale. Inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana and toe balance. Exhale, hands to your heart, heels to the ground simultaneously as the exhale finishes. Inhale, upward hands. Chair pose. Rising up and toe balance. Uttanasana, heels down slowly, so not in a hurry, but the heels come down maybe just before you finish your bow. Inhale forward. Right toes back, right knee down. Inhale, rise. Descend. Forward. Inward. Forward. Left foot backwards. Rising up. Descending. Downward dog. Exhale, plank. Inhale, dog. Exhale, left foot, right foot, Uttanasana. Inhale, rising up, and toe balance. Exhale, Anjali Mudra and Samastitihi at the same moment. Stand in your plumb line. Try to sense the benevolent presence. You could imagine that presence is like Thich Nhat Hanh, who goes with his students, they call him Thai, which means beloved teacher. Now we're going to add to the sequence. So inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Utkatasana. Urdhva Hastasana and toe balance. Uttanasana, heels down slow. Ardha Uttanasana, heart forward. Left toes back, left knee down. Inhale, rise. Now exhale, descend. Fingertips, please. Inhale, straighten both legs, heart forward. And exhale to bow. You can go to flat palms if you like. Now inhale, step forward, heart forward. Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana. Right toes back, right knee down. Inhale, rising. Exhale, descending. Inhale, straighten both legs, heart forward. Exhale to bow. Now inhale, downward dog pose. Exhale, plank. Arriving at the end of the exhale in your plank pose. Inhale, downward facing dog. Exhale, right foot and then left foot forward, Uttanasana. And inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana and toe balance. And exhale, hands to your heart, heels to the floor, arriving at the end of the exhale. I'm going to add to it again. So inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up and toe balance. Exhale, Uttanasana. The heels come down slowly, no rushing. So everything's kind of completing at the end of the exhale. Now inhale, glide forward. Energize your inner arches and your inner thighs. Right toes back, right knee down. Inhale, rise up. Okay, exhale, descending. So keep some tone in the deep low belly here. Touch with your fingertips to start. And then inhale, straighten both legs, heart forward. Okay, exhale for a deep bow. Press into your flat palms. Curl the low belly in, kind of like cat pose. And now inhale and simply bend your right knee to the basic lunge. Come to your fingertips. Exhale, press into your left foot and come to Ardha Uttanasana. So you have the right leg about horizontal to the floor. With your left big toe, mound the big toe, inner and outer heel grounded. Keep your inner left arch lifted and firm your left outer hip and thigh. Gaze down towards your left big toe. It'll help with your balance. And try to sense the back hemisphere of your body right now for that, which I'm saying, hey, if your observer, if your benevolent witness were back there, how would you be seeing this present moment? Now, keeping the left leg strong and both arms steady, lower your right leg down like a grandfather clock coming back to center. And enjoy your Uttanasana. Now inhale your heart forward, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, left toes back, left knee down. And inhale, rise up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, descending. I'm laughing at myself because I went outside between classes. Inhale, take the hips back. I got soaked in the rain, so my hair is going to hang in my face. Exhale, root down. Inhale, bend your right knee, glide forward, fingertips. Now exhale, press into your right heel and float your left leg to Ardha Uttanasana. So there's different forms of the same name pose, Ardha Uttanasana right now. We could call this also Ekapada Ardha Uttanasana, which means one-footed, half Uttanasana. So energize your right footprint, right big toe, mound of the big toe, your right outer hip and heel. Now, keeping your right leg steady, lift the low belly in and broaden the back of your body so that as you lower the left leg down, there's no hitch in your giddy up. You don't have to squirm the hips about. Your left leg fits like the pendulum of the grandfather clock fits. And then Uttanasana. You inhale to rise and toe balance. And then hands to the heart and heels back down. And try to sense, if you have a feeling, you can stand in the back hemisphere of your body, so your heels, the back of your sacrum, back of your waist, the back of your heart, the base of your skull. And we don't need that blanket, but we also don't have to move it, so as you like. Keep your right foot forward, please, and take the left foot back, and I'm going to ask you to pivot your left heel to the floor behind you. And if you look back, you could line your left heel up with your right heel on this line on your mat. Think of it like if you had the back heel lifted, your feet might show up as if they were cross-country skiing. When you turn the back heel down, perhaps your left heel lines up with your right heel. It's actually based on the size of your foot also. But I don't want your left heel to go past your right heel on this line. Let's make the blocks tall. Press into your fingertips and use a cat pose spine here. Notice if the left heel might become more grounded, if your left leg could have a little more strength, called garimo. Gaze back at your left heel as you make the spine a little bit more like cat pose. Now, keeping your left leg strong, begin to send your right thigh a little bit more forward, incrementally, as if the right thigh were like a telescope and you're elongating it. Your right knee will not go past your right heel here. I just want you to sense, how do you lengthen your right thigh from the inner groin into your right knee? Now aim your left arm forward and begin to rotate into the pose we call parsvakonasana, the side angle pose. Emphasize the length of your right thigh, that should continue, and the rooting of your left heel. I want your legs to be just as stable and grounded as you can make them. Good. Use your Ujjayi breath to help moderate how much effort and the feeling of your effort. As you reach with your left arm overhead, start sensing the back canopy of your body, as if in this pose you can also kind of lean back into that canopy, that benevolent witness. You could again imagine that presence is like Thich Nhat Hanh, the kind of simple, consistent, abiding and honest love that he has had for people everywhere. And when you exhale, start the journey back to cat pose with your torso and your arms. So as your left fingertips come down to the block, there's going to be a broadening of your left upper back, left mid-back. Gaze towards your left heel again. Now pick up your left heel so your hips are square to the floor. Let's take the blocks down to the medium setting where they were, and please step your left foot forward and your right foot back. Line up your right heel with your left. At least don't go past it to the left. And let's make the blocks tall. And press firmly down through both arms. Come into a cat pose spine as you gaze back at your right heel. Perhaps you can even see your heel. Concentrate on broadening into the back hemisphere of your body. My hope is that as you make the cat pose, your right leg becomes more grounded, more stable. Even check and see if the right big toe might feel more solid to you. And then lengthen your left thigh, again like a little telescope. So glide your left inner thigh and left kneecap forward. And now take your right arm forward and start rotating your pelvis to your right for Parjva. The side angle pose. Parjva means side. Kona is angle. And try to sense that immense presence known as our witness, our observer. And if Thai was not one of your teachers, or you don't know this great being that I'm speaking about, you can use any other teacher or benevolent presence in your life to sense them and how they would see you right now making this effort. You could borrow their strength or courage or love, their equanimity or grace. And then your next exhale, keep your left arm steady so it's still in cat pose, and start bringing your right fingertips back down to that cat pose. And then let's make the two blocks medium once again. Pivot your right heel up and step it forward. Uttanasana. Please step backwards with the two blocks. Come to downward facing dog pose. And come forward to table pose. And take one block, like a bench like this, to sit on. Then it's called Vajrasana. If you want, you can have your blanket for your knees. It's not necessary. It's really up to you. Mine happens to still be here, so yours may still be there also. Come to Vajrasana. It means thunderbolt pose. Vajra, the thunderbolt. So I invite you to sit really still and to sense that back canopy, that enormous presence or love. And even if Thai was one of your teachers, or maybe your primary teacher, if there were other teachers, you can also add them to that. I know that many of you are here right now who have met Mataji in Rishikesh, one of my teachers. Many of you have met Acharya, who's in Mysore. Some of you have met Saraswati, she's in Chennai. Many of you have met Deobrat, he's in Varanasi. So you could invite them into this enormous canopy. You could ask for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Some of you have also met him directly when we went to India. Maybe you met him on this continent. And any other teacher that you have confidence they would see your efforts and they would appreciate your dedication. We aren't traveling this path alone. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to change gears slightly so you don't need a blanket, and at this point it would be actually in your way. And I would like you to take both of the blocks that you have and sit on them as if you're sitting at a campfire. So this is also review for those of you who've been coming consistently for the last couple of weeks. Excuse me. So sit like, yeah, you're at the campfire, something like that. But then I'm going to have you walk the feet and knees out. Okay, so the feet, shins, knees, and thighs are pointing together. And you can take the elbows to the insides of the knees. Hopefully your elbows aren't too bony. As you gently press your elbows out against your knees, let your torso come forward. Whatever way it's comfortable for you, you could put your hands on your ankles or on the floor. You could keep the hands where they are. Perhaps you feel the inner thighs again, and they can each act a little bit like telescopes. So lengthen each thigh towards its own knee. And walk yourself back up to center. And let's go heel toe until your feet are parallel. Feet and knees parallel. Okay, so we're going to do a little twisting pose from this position. And I'm going to ask us, some of us just had breakfast before this class because they're in yoga teacher training. When we do the twist, I'm going to be asking you to come down and then rotate. And so I hope you didn't have a huge breakfast, by the way. And in the twisting, I'm going to ask us to put the breath into the back hemisphere of the body again. So what you can do is take the left arm up like this and draw the low belly in, and then come forward. Left shoulder can be against the inside of your left knee. You might choose to hold your right ankle with your left hand to your right knee, and then twist to your right, keeping it low and snug. You can use the right hand to encourage your right thigh to have that telescope feeling. So you're lengthening your right thigh towards your right knee. Now lean into the back hemisphere of your body with the breath. Picture the back canopy of the body becoming more broad. Bring your chin gently in towards your right collarbone. And look past your right elbow or your right shoulder. And then rotate around to face forward. Now sweep the left arm forward and up. And then cross your left elbow over the outside of your right knee. You can join the palms together, and you may put them into prayer position, and then you're going to press, if you can, the left elbow against the right knee to telescope it forward as you rotate your heart to the right. Bring your chin in towards your right collarbone, so you can gaze through the window of the arms and your chest and right elbow. And try to sense the back of your body here, that back canopy. So often in twisting we think we're in the front body more, but I am asking you to stay in the back hemisphere of your torso right now. And then rotate around to face forward. And let's come up to sit for a few moments. Just drape your arms over your knees like decorations. And kind of notice, okay, how does the back of the body feel? Is it more alive? Is it kind of like a zigzag? It's possible that your left upper and right lower quadrants can feel something. And then raise your right arm up. And bring the right arm down so you're inside here. Put the right shoulder in against your right knee and cross your right hand to your left ankle. And then possibly your left hand to your left knee to help telescope the knee as you twist to your left. And keep sensing, keep sensing the back hemisphere of the body. So that is also likely to help you slow down your mind and your mood. And gaze past your left elbow and your left shoulder. And inhale, sweep your right arm forward, rise up. And then cross your right elbow over your left knee. Yeah. Bring your palms together. Possibly you'll bend the elbows and use the elbows to help you rotate to your left. Maybe you can gaze back through the window of the torso and your left elbow. So your chin's going to be a little more in towards your throat in that regard, and you can broaden the back hemisphere of your body. And then let's exhale, unwind, bring this around. And again, drape your arms over your knees like decorations. Okay? And start noticing like the tone of your nervous system right now. The inner feeling perhaps of connection with your body, but also the back hemisphere of your body. So really be focused at the upper back, mid back, lower back, right side, left side. Now, with both of your blankets already folded and near enough by, please come onto your back and put the blankets to your right and your left, lengthwise. You may or may not need your blocks. I'll set mine over here. So when you lie down, you've got your right blanket over here and your left blanket on the other side. And it's possible that for some of you, you'll have to fold this blanket once more because you'll need the support for what we're going to do. You might need it sooner, not later. So like this. Take the left leg straight out on the floor. Bring your right knee up to your chest. Reach your right ankle across to hold it with your left hand. And you can hold your ankle with your right hand as well. So when you bring your right ankle across like this, think of this like pigeon pose from if you were to turn yourself over. Now sometimes when people come into pigeon pose, let's call this lying down pigeon pose or reclined pigeon pose. The whole pose starts leaning to the right. So I'm going to ask you to do this. Roll your right hip up, sneak your blanket under just the outside of your right hip, and then glide your right ankle closer to your left shoulder if your hip allows for that. But notice when you put that support under your right hip, is it possible that your left leg gets more grounded? Now with your right hand, you can hold the toes of your right foot. Left hand, you can hold the heel. And start raising your right foot from pigeon pose just a little bit up towards the ceiling. Keep your knee out to the side. You can actually kind of supervise it with your right elbow. Maybe go up a tiny bit more. It's going to be up to your right hip socket. So I'd like your left leg to stay grounded. Your pelvis and your sacrum can stay grounded. And if you know what the pose, happy baby pose is called, if you know this one, this is like doing half of the happy baby pose. You're now going to take your right hand to the inside of your right ankle and press your right outer hip and thigh onto the blanket, which should keep you from tipping over to your right. Breathe in, and then return your right leg slowly to pigeon pose, lying down pigeon pose. So you can reach your left hand to hold your right heel, take the toes of your right foot with your right hand, glide that back in, switch your right hand to the top or the underside of your ankle, and bring your right heel towards your left shoulder. And then setting the blanket aside that was there to brace your hip, slide your right leg out on the floor and just let both legs be limp for a moment and observe what's happening right leg to left leg. Now bring your left knee up towards your chest and press your right hip and thigh out long on the floor. You have the blanket on your left side available too, so now take your left ankle for your right hand, and your left hand can also hold your left ankle. So first stage of pigeon pose, lying down pigeon pose for you. Sometimes we come up to this pigeon pose and right away the pelvis has already tipped left. So tip across to your right, put the blanket, just a little snug blanket under your left outer hip and thigh. And you may hold your left ankle with your left hand. You could go underneath like this if you like. And bring your left ankle towards your right shoulder. Yeah. Lengthen your right leg so you can consistently sense the footprint that you're making on the mat, like the back hemisphere of your body is grounded. And as a result, you can play with your left leg and have more attention for what's happening in your left hip. And hold the toes of your left foot with your left hand. And start gliding your left foot up a few inches from your pigeon pose. And it's possible that you're going to reach your left hand to hold the inside of your left heel. And for your left shin to be vertical. Stretch out through your right leg, press it down against the floor. This is one part of the pose called Happy Baby Pose. start to glide that one back in. And so you'll switch how the hands are holding. And then release your left leg out and give it the same respect you gave to the right leg. Let it rest against the floor and start noticing. So here you are. I'm going to encourage you to stay really still, and you can try these two things. One is take this blanket and you can cover up. You can kind of unfold it only once, so it's going to have a little bit of weight. So the blanket goes from your heart down over your hips and pelvis. Maybe it goes down as far as the knees. So just like a little bit of weight and comfort. And then the second blanket, we've got it folded right now. You can use it as what we call a pratyahara blanket. So you go like this. It covers the eyes, and then you smush it. You snug it in against your ears. And you come to Shavasana. And I know that this looks funny, but it's really helpful to quiet the eyes, the forehead. You've kind of, you're reducing your vata dosha. Even let the ears be covered. And as you take your legs and arms out to Shavasana, let your mind rest really deeply. So soften the place right between your eyebrows and over your forehead, out towards your temples. As you relax your forehead, your eyes, and your temples, let that ease go further back through your hairline towards the back of your head. And then release from the bridge of your nose down the right side, left side. So the muscles of your cheeks and the hinge of your jaw. Welcome every part of you to rest. Let every part of you become heavier with relaxation.
Release more and more into the ground beneath you. This immense presence, the planet itself. Invite your body and your mind to rest very completely. And one more time, allow your body and your mind to get really heavy with relaxation. As you're sensing that heavy, try to imagine the earth beneath you welcoming you. As we know she does. Allow the weight of your body to be totally supported by the earth. The weight of thoughts.
Bring just enough awareness to hear my words. I'll read this poem again. Don't say that I will depart tomorrow. Even today I am still arriving. Look deeply. Every second I am arriving to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with still fragile wings, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that is alive. I am a mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river, and I am the bird that swoops down to swallow the mayfly. I am a frog swimming happily in the clear water of a pond, and I am the grass snake that silently feeds itself on the frog. I am the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I am the arms merchant, selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I am the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I am also the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I am a member of the Politburo, with plenty of power in my hands. And I am the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people, dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom all over the earth. My pain is like a river of tears, so vast it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughter at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up and the door of my heart could be left open, the door of compassion. I'm going to ask you now, those of you in Shavasana still, most of you are, but just to give a little slightly deeper breath and make contact with the felt sense of these words influencing you. And then gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you are ready to, please bend your knees and roll to your side on your way from Shavasana to meditation. When you come up, please support your hips and pelvis so you can sit for a few minutes in meditation. I see that Sadie's fellow student had to get up. Yeah. Hopefully your fuzzy mammal will also meditate or let you meditate. So when you come to sit now for this period of meditation, we'll just be a few minutes. Try to, even though we're not in the same physical room, we are in the same moment, even if we're not geographically together. So try to sense when you're sitting, you have this resource, this benevolent presence, but we also have this resource, this Sangha, this community. Listen for the possibility that your mind actually is more still. Some part of you is more settled. We can sense to our arriving and our departing. We are the frog and the snake. So continue to sense the back of your body, the inner body, the circle of your Sangha, your community. Join your hands together at your heart. For all of the precious teachers that we have had, those still living, those who have gone, those who are passing now, may we exude their teachings in our thoughts, in our actions, in our speech, in our relationships, in how we care for ourselves as their students, how we become like an ambassador of who they were in our lives or who they've been to humanity. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you also to these teachers. I don't know where humanity would be without them. I can only imagine it, and I don't want to. Not right now. I would just like to see you right now.